In this video, we shall be taking a look at the lesson decimals and common fractions. And at the end of this lesson, you will be able to 1. Know what decimals are, 2. Know the relationship between decimals and common fractions, 3. Convert from fractions to decimal, and 4. Convert from decimal to fraction. So, what are decimal numbers? Let me give you some definitions. Decimal number. What is a decimal number? It is a number which has a whole and a fraction part with decimal points separating the whole from the fraction. Did you get that? Let me give you an example. Say 1.02. Here my 1 is the whole part, while my 0.2 is the fraction part. So further, what is a decimal fraction then? A decimal fraction is a part of a whole number divided into equal parts of 10. E.g., 0.2 is a decimal fraction. From the example I gave earlier, I said my 1 is the whole number while my 0.2 is the fraction part. So my decimal fraction is 0.2 there. So what is a decimal place? So decimal place is the number of digits to the right of the decimal point indicates the powers of 10 that is in the denominator, e.g. 0.2. Here this shows one decimal place. Why? Because I have one digit to the right of my decimal. Can you see? I have just 2. So see another example, 0.25. This shows how many decimal places? Can you guess? Okay, it shows 2. Why? Because I have 2 digits to my right of my decimal. Can you see the 2 digits, 2 and 5? Alright, that's good. Let's move on. So let me bring your mind back. Recall that a fraction is always a part of a whole. How? From the diagram above. What does that show you? It shows the shape is divided into what? How many parts? 4. Can you see? And how many parts are shaded? 3 parts shaded, which denotes it to be what? 3/4. Good. Also, if I have a square divided into 10 equal parts and 3 parts shaded, what will that give me? That will give me 3/10. So that is that. So let's move on. So we can further express the fraction with the powers of 10 as the denominator separated by the special notation called decimal point. So we use the decimal point to separate the whole from the fraction. So in the notation system, the denominator is power of 10 denoted by dots. So our decimal point or our decimal is denoted as a dot, or you call it a point. So therefore, we can write 3/10 at 0.3, where 0 is the whole part and 3 is the fraction part. So how do we get this? Dividing 3 by 10. Can you see that 10 is larger than 3? So how do we divide a smaller number by a larger number? So let's see. Going by the dividing rule, I have 3 to be inside of my shape and I have 10 to be outside. So 10 in 3. How many 10 can we get in 3? Is that possible? No. So we put that 0. So we put our 0 up. So we multiply the 0 by 10. It gives me 0. So we put it under 3. So subtracting that 0 from that 3 will give us 3. So if I say 10 in 3 again, it will give me 0. So how do I solve this to give me a fraction? So I add 0 to the front of my 3. Then adding 0 to the front of my 3 will indicate me putting a dot in front of my 0 at the top. So that makes it equal. So 10 in 30 will give me 3. Can you see that 3? I'm putting 3 in front of the decimal to my right. So 3 multiplied by 10 back, the 10 we have here, will give me 30. So if you subtract 30 from 30 will give me what? 0. So that is how we got our 0.3. I hope you understand. So let's solve another one. Convert 1/4 to decimal. Following the same way I solved that. So I have our 1 to be inside. Our numerator will always be inside, while our denominator will always be outside. So 4 in 1 is not possible. So I have it at 0.0. So put my 0 up. So 0 times 4 will give me 0. What do? I remove my 0 from 1. I have 1. So here, what do? We should know that I'll be adding 0 to the front of my 1. And if I add 0, what does that denote? It means I'll be introducing a decimal point. So I put it in front of the 0 up. So I have 4 in 10 will give me, how many 4 can we get in 10? 2. Yeah, 2. So 2 multiplied back by 4 will give me 8. So if I remove 8 from 10, it gives me 20. Oh, sorry, 2. I add 0 again. Yeah, I don't need to introduce another decimal point because it's already there, already as our dove. So if I introduce another 0, 4 in 20 will give me 5. So I can see 5 falls in 20. So 5 multiplied by 4 will give me 20. And if I remove 20 from 20, it gives me 0. So I have the answer to be 0.5. I hope you got that. And I hope you can do the same. So let's also do conversion from decimal to fraction. So if you check this well, and from my explanation earlier, we have a single digit from the decimal point to the right, which makes it 10. So we will be solving an example converting 0.3 to fraction. So if you check this well, and from my explanation earlier, we have a single digit from decimal point to the right, which makes it 10. So I have these at 0.3 to be 3/10. So that is quite simple. And let us convert 0.34 to fraction also. I have here 2 digits from the decimal point to the right. That's the digits are 3 and 4. So this makes it 100 because we have 2 digits. We are introducing 2 zeros. The first one we had 1 digit. We just introduce 1. So I have this to be 34/100. So let's check this also. I want to convert my 1.4, which I have as 0.25 earlier. So I'll be converting to 0.25 back to a fraction. So how do I do this? It is very interesting. So here I have 2 and 5 occupying 2 decimal places to the right. So what does that indicate? Indicates it as 100 because we have 2 decimal places to the 2 digits to the right of my decimal place. So we have 2 and 5. So which makes this 25/100. So if you change 25/100, convert it to its lowest term, we can divide through by 25. So 25 divided by 25 will give me 1, and 100 divided by 25 will give me 4. Can you see? Very, very interesting. So we have it as 1/4.